Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a foreground and a background in a virtual set. So in the effects generator, I've created a virtual set that includes a floor, a 3D object, and there's no background. You could import an image from 3ds Max if you save it out, render out your scene as a bitmap or something, and then whatever object you want to see in front of the person, render that or export the object as a 3ds file, early revision 3ds or lightwave object. You'll have to just try and see which ones work. But basically what we're going to teach you is how to take someone, an artist, actor, and put them behind a 3D object or in front of a 3D object. So the way you do this is in the effects generator application, and I'll just load up the first scene that I had. So um, you can bring your finished screenshot in, so you can use that as a background and know kind of where things need to be. And then you can take your object, which your 3D object you can find in here, like these are all 3D objects. I'll just grab my bell and drag it in. Oops, undo. I don't want to replace that object. So let's see here. I think what I should do actually is start over. So when you first open the effects generator, this is what you see. You don't need this wireframe. You can delete that. Then you can bring your image in and just drag it in the background. And then you can bring your object in, your 3D object, and rotate it around. The scene information, it may be captured as well. You might not have to do all this um, to line it up or whatever, but just kind of gotta get close there. So this 3D object is what the person is going to interact with, and so I'm going to leave that object in, and I'm going to create another object track. Now this object track is going to be for your actor, for your talent, and you may want to check in director mode where you're at with that. So clearly I need to come up in my scene, so we'll move it up and just reset it in the center. So that's pretty much good actually. If I go back into director mode here, you can see that your actor is going to be in this frame, and this is the 3D object that they will interact with. So basically I'm pretty much ready to go. I can put on texture mapping if I want and choose texture mapping again. So this is the scene. Now this object, you're going to want to go into the surface settings and set the luminosity for 255. That will keep the actor from looking like a ghost. And if there's any textures to be mapped onto your 3D object, you're probably going to have to texture map it here as well. So if when you make the object in the 3ds Max, make sure you save your textures out as well. So you can apply those textures just by dragging and dropping them onto the object. Oops. Okay, don't drag and drop them onto the object. What I would do is actually select the object from here and go to texture settings, and you can drag your image on here. If there's many different surfaces on the 3D object, you can adjust that by going back to the object itself and changing which surface you need to apply your texture to. Also, you can adjust how it's wrapped onto the object. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now we're going to go ahead and render this out. So I'm going to go into the effect window, and I'm going to go ahead and set the graphics to be turned on, warp is turned on, and chroma key is turned on. Okay. By default, typically the effect is 1 second long, which looks like this, but we only need it to be 1 frame since there's no animation to this, and that makes the rendering quicker. But you do want to make sure you turn on a pause point. This will keep the effect up as long as you want. Okay, so now we're going to go in and hit make effect, and by doing that it renders out the effect and it's finished. So we're just going to go ahead and drag and drop this newly made effect into here. Okay, you can see it there. Now, you've already got your background that you saved out from 3ds Max. I don't have one right now, so I'm going to go ahead and create one real quick. I'm going to do that just by selecting this object and hiding it. And we're going to go ahead and probably go ahead and what else do we need to do? We've hidden that object. Yeah, basically we're just going to go ahead and make another effect. Oh yeah, we need to open up the effects windows properties. Since there's no actor frame anymore, we're going to turn warp off, and we're going to turn chroma key off, and we're going to hit make effect. And now we're just going to save that out. So I've got 2 different objects here that we're going to use. The background, you made this in 3ds Max, you don't have to make this here. And the effect itself, which you do have to make here. Okay, so we're going to load it up. Oh yeah, this actually is something that I need to snap an image of. Remember, you don't have to do this part. You've already made the background image in 3ds Max. And now the foreground part is right here, and that's an effect. So you've got your talent, and they are either in front of or behind. Now you see how the image gets darker here? That's because I didn't set that luminosity to 255 on that second one. I'd accidentally deleted it. So we're going to go back in there, and we're going to reveal that in object, texture, surface settings, and luminosity we're going to set for 255. Okay, and we're going to save that over the other. And you can see now that basically I'm just hitting one key, this effects window, they walk out around the side of this object, and you can turn off the key and then they're in front of the object. So that's pretty much how that works. Again, to set it up, you'll be using a live camera shot. I'm using a frame store of of someone on a green screen, and then I've got my background image and my foreground effect, and that's all there is to it. You can play around and do some fun stuff with reflections on object surfaces. Like I don't know if you can really tell, but in this effect here, I'm actually reflecting a little bit in the side of the ball. Um, there's a lot of it in this effect, so we'll just put that in there and load that up and run that. And you can see this reflection here and reflection here. The way that works is in the effects generator, you would create another object that I'll show you here. Um, there's not one there. So let's take the one that you're familiar with. You would create another object and move it. I'm going to hit the D key. If you hit the D key while you're in the effects generator, you can move your object around. And we're going to rotate it on the Y, or I'm sorry, on the X axis, and angle it down. And we're going to scale it up. And we're going to go to the texture or the surface settings and set the luminosity for 255. Now what happens is it projects that image into this surface, and you can make that surface very reflective. And that's the trim, and we'll do bell main as well. And so now we're ready to make the effect. So we'll just say effect properties, and it doesn't need to be a transition, so we'll say make effect. And I'll show you the difference between this one and the last one that we did. So we're going to rename this. We'll say no reflection, and we'll save this one out, and that will be with reflection. Okay, and then we go back into the switcher, and I'll show you what the differences are. So the background image was, I believe, this guy here. All right, and you can already see the effect is running there with the reflection. That's from the milk. So here's no reflection, and here's with reflection. So you can see just barely, and I don't know why it's still getting dark. Let's go back in and double check. Okay, I don't know how that happened, but I'm going to set that there. We'll make it again. And we're going to save that out. And we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, so let's try that again. So no reflection, and here's with reflection. And I'll show you. You can see down in the corner of the bell, the bottom right corner, the reflection, and also on the bell trim. So if I move around here, you can see in this area there's some reflection, and down here. Now if I was moving, if the actor was moving around, you would see it reflecting in the surfaces. So